Today, I want to share something that may not often be discussed but affects many men and couples as we age. The reduction in penis size can seem surprising or even taboo for some. However, I firmly believe that discussing such topics is important for understanding that aging is not something to fear but rather something to embrace with wisdom. Like any other part of the body, the penis also changes with age. This can lead to insecurity, disappointment, or simply confusion. However, my story and my husband's story have taught us that these changes do not have to mark the end of intimacy or pleasure. When I was young, like any other girl with dreams, sex and intimacy were associated with physical energy. I remember when I met the man who became the love of my life. His energy captivated me, not only because of his appearance but also because of the confidence he exuded. In the early years of our marriage, our sex life was intense and exciting, which is normal in youth. However, over the years, as our bodies began to change, so did our way of interacting in bed. The first noticeable change was related to my husband's reduced firmness during arousal. First, we were both puzzled, thinking it was temporary, but it wasn't. Time passed, and his reactions no longer functioned as they once had. Sometimes, they would appear and disappear before we could enjoy intimacy. That's when I began to notice a reduction in size, something that can affect any man or couple unprepared for it. I remember the first time we talked about it. My husband, always a confident man, began to avoid the topic of sex. I noticed how he emotionally withdrew, worried that he could no longer satisfy me as he had before. It was clear that he felt shame, something he had never experienced before. It broke my heart because I knew that the foundation of our relationship was not sex but rather the love and connection we had built over the years. I took time to explore this issue because I wanted to understand what was happening and how I could help him feel better. I learned that a decrease in penis size with age is a completely normal phenomenon. Over time, the body loses some elasticity, hormone levels change, and blood flow decreases, all of which can affect size and firmness. But what I learned, and what was most important, is that these changes do not mean the end of pleasure or intimacy. One night, after a quiet dinner, I decided to talk to him. I sat next to him, took his hand, and said that I understood what he was going through and that he shouldn't feel ashamed. I explained that our bodies change over time and that it's okay. What truly mattered to me was not the appearance of his body but the connection we shared. I wanted him to understand that intimacy was about so much more than physical attributes. It was about love, trust, and the bond we had nurtured throughout our lives together. That conversation changed everything for us. It allowed us to redefine intimacy and find joy in new ways. We explored different methods of connection that focused on emotional and physical closeness, rather than solely relying on what society often portrays as intimacy. This journey has not only strengthened our relationship, but also deepened our understanding of what it means to love someone through every stage of life. Aging may bring physical changes, but it also brings opportunities to grow closer and discover new dimensions of love and connection. Embracing these changes with compassion and open communication can make all the difference in a relationship. We found that the key to maintaining intimacy is not resisting change but adapting to it together, hand in hand. Know that I loved him for who he was, not for his ability to perform or react in any given moment. When we experienced changes in our relationship, we began to focus more on emotional connection than on physical acts. We realized that pleasure doesn't necessarily have to be tied to arousal. Together, we explored new ways of touching, communicating, and enjoying each other. We began to appreciate moments of intimacy differently, long embraces, lingering kisses, and intimate play that we might have overlooked in our younger years. Over time, my husband began to feel more confident again. It wasn't an instant change, but a gradual process. Slowly, he started accepting his body as it was. Accepting these changes didn't mean we no longer had a satisfying sex life. On the contrary, we discovered that sex could be more enjoyable and meaningful when focused on emotional connection and mutual pleasure, rather than on physical satisfaction tied to youth. One of the most important lessons we learned from this process was that intimacy is not just about what happens between the sheets. It's about how we relate to each other, how we listen, and how we support one another. It's about being there for each other not only in good times but also through the challenges that aging inevitably brings. Ultimately, what truly matters is how we make each other feel. It's true that men often feel societal pressure to maintain an image of masculinity throughout their lives. This pressure can be overwhelming, especially when physical changes begin to manifest. However, I wish all men knew that their worth is not measured by the size of their penis or the strength of their arousal. Their true value lies in how they love, care for others, and emotionally connect with their partners. Now, with age, I can confidently say that sex in later years can be even more fulfilling than in youth. Maturity allows us to be more patient, understanding, and attentive to each other's needs. It enables us to enjoy moments without the pressure to achieve a specific goal. We learn to relax and savor the pleasure of physical contact without worrying about external expectations. One of the deepest changes has been how we began perceiving our bodies. In youth, we are often obsessed with appearances, wanting perfect bodies, toned muscles, and maximum performance. But over time, we learn to appreciate our bodies for what they are: containers of our experiences, memories, and love. My husband's body tells his story, just as my body tells mine. His scars, his changes, and even his insecurities are all part of the journey we've shared together. In old age, bodies become living maps, marked by the adventures we've experienced, the mistakes we've made, and the victories we've achieved. Instead of viewing these changes with disappointment or frustration, we choose to see them with gratitude. Every line and every change tells a story of resilience, love, and growth. My husband began embracing a new perspective on his body and masculinity. The size of his penis was no longer a symbol of his masculinity, but just a part of the body he learned to appreciate. He came to understand that masculinity is not defined by physical attributes but by how one shows strength, love, and vulnerability. As we continue to age together, I am reminded that intimacy and connection are about far more than physicality. They are about emotional closeness, shared experiences, and the deep bond we've built over a lifetime. Aging has not taken away from our relationship. Instead, it has enriched it, teaching us to love each other in ways we never could have imagined in our younger years. Through this journey, we've discovered that love, in all its forms, is timeless. His body had changed over time, like many other things. When he let go of society's imposed expectations, I noticed his confidence returning. And this time it came from a deeper place. It was no longer superficial confidence based on looks or sexual activity. Instead, it was confidence grounded in the acceptance of who he truly is. With all his transformations, our intimacy also evolved. Although our sexual encounters became less frequent, they became deeper and more meaningful. Each time we touched each other, it was with greater intention, as if we were celebrating the fact that, despite the years and changes, we still found ways to love and connect with one another. We began exploring new ways to share pleasure without the pressure to achieve arousal or orgasm. We discovered that true pleasure lies in the act itself, in being fully present with one another, free from expectations, simply enjoying the moment. One thing I deeply cherish in these years is our ability to be vulnerable with one another. We openly discuss our fears and insecurities. My husband shared how difficult it had been for him to accept changes in his body and how it made him feel less masculine in a world where masculinity is often measured by size and functionality. However, he also expressed how, through our relationship, he learned that his worth does not depend on these superficial standards. I was honest with him, saying that while physical changes were initially unexpected, they never affected my love or desire for him. On the contrary, our bond strengthened as we navigated these changes together. We learned to communicate better, expressing what we needed from each other, not only in bed but also in everyday life. This communication became key to maintaining the spark in our relationship, not just physically but emotionally too. Over time, our focus shifted increasingly toward emotional intimacy. We became more aware of caring for each other's emotions and souls as much as our bodies. We realized that sex is not just a physical act but an extension of the emotional and spiritual connection we share. When this connection is strong, the pleasure we experience becomes much deeper and more satisfying than any physical activity could offer. For my husband, accepting his body opened doors to new forms of self-care. He began taking better care of his overall health, not just sexually, by adopting a balanced diet, staying active, and practicing relaxation techniques that helped reduce stress and anxiety. These changes improved not only his physical well-being but also his emotional health, which surprisingly enhanced his sexual life in ways we hadn't predicted. Stress and anxiety are often significant factors in age-related sexual issues, and letting go of performance pressure led to a greater sense of freedom, allowing his body to respond more naturally during our intimacy. One key aspect I want to emphasize is that these changes didn't diminish our relationship. Instead, they strengthened it. We learned to find beauty and joy in the present moment rather than chasing outdated ideals or societal expectations. Our intimacy became less about meeting physical standards and more about nurturing the profound bond we shared. Aging has taught us that true connection is about much more than appearances or physical performance. It's about trust, vulnerability, and the love we continue to grow through every stage of life. By embracing these changes together, we've discovered a deeper level of intimacy and a renewed sense of appreciation for each other. These lessons have allowed us to love more authentically, celebrating who we are and the journey we've shared. It didn't happen overnight. It was a gradual process filled with ups and downs, doubts, and small victories. There were days when my husband still felt frustrated about his body, moments when insecurity would arise again. However, these moments became less frequent as we continued working on our relationship and embracing ourselves together. We also learned how to laugh at situations. Humor became a great ally in reducing tension in bed. If something didn't go according to plan, we simply laughed, hugged each other, and continued enjoying the moment. We understood there's no need to take everything too seriously. After all, life is full of imperfections, and that's what makes it beautiful. As we age, our sexual relationship continues evolving. It's no longer just about physical sex, but a deeper connection involving touch, tender words, and gestures of love. We came to understand that true pleasure isn't merely about the act itself. It's about presence and love shared between us. Navigating through my husband's bodily changes became a lesson in acceptance, patience, and love. We learned to look beyond societal standards of beauty and performance, valuing what truly matters: connection, intimacy, and mutual respect. Every change in his body became an opportunity for growth, exploration, and deepening our relationship. It helped us discover new ways of expressing love. Today, as I look back, I feel gratitude for everything we've experienced. While youth, passion, and intensity have their place, there is a beauty and serenity that only maturity can offer. Through love, a love tested by time, we've grown stronger and deeper than ever before. For any man or couple going through these changes, my message is simple. Do not fear discussing this. Do not fear accepting what your bodies are experiencing. Remember, aging is a natural part of life, and with the right mindset, every stage can be just as enjoyable and meaningful as those before. Penis size and firm erections are merely physical aspects of something much larger. True masculinity, true connection, and true pleasure lie within the ability to love and be loved, to accept and be accepted. And this, dear friends, has nothing to do with size, appearance, or any part of the body. It's all about the heart and soul. Invest in your relationships. With age, we continue learning how to love and connect. For me, that's the real gift of aging, a gift of love, intimacy, and the deep connection we share as we grow together. In today's life, Many couples face challenges brought on by physical and emotional changes, but these do not have to diminish the connection between partners. Instead, they can serve as opportunities for growth and deeper understanding. Open conversations about vulnerabilities and insecurities are essential, as they foster trust and emotional intimacy. This story reminds us that true connection isn't confined to physical appearances or societal expectations. It's about the emotional bond and mutual respect that partners cultivate over time. Embrace the changes that come with age instead of resisting them. View these transitions as a chance to explore new dimensions of intimacy, focusing on emotional closeness and shared experiences. Prioritize self-care and mental well-being, as these directly impact how you show up in your relationship. Let go of societal pressures that define masculinity or femininity based on superficial standards, and instead focus on the qualities that truly matter: love, patience, and empathy. Above all, cherish the small moments. A kind word, a gentle touch, or a shared laugh. These are the building blocks of lasting intimacy and joy. By shifting your perspective to value connection over perfection, you can create a more fulfilling relationship that stands the test of time. Aging isn't something to fear. It's a journey to embrace together, hand in hand, with gratitude and love. Thank you for staying with us until the end. If you are looking to grow in life, don't forget to show some love by clicking the like button and subscribing. This supports the channel and allows me to continue creating content for you. Leave your thoughts or comments below. Feel free to express yourself and stay positive. See you next time.